I don't know how this game passed me by and why I didn't want to pay attention to it, but I had a chance to play Red Dead Redemption 2 just in 2022. And I was literally blown away by how thoughtful and interesting the game is. Starting with a Lucius splash screen with a Rockstar logo, we enter the world of highway robbers, rebels, bounty hunters, drunkards, liars and jerks. To be honest, I didn't feel the game right away. A couple of times I abandoned it, and when I returned, I lost the thread of the story. You need to be ready for this. The plot is dragged out, and this is noted by many people in their reviews. If you calmly accept the fact that at first your head will be dizzy from dozens of names and monotonous dirty crooks, but then the game will reward you with many sudden situations, interesting meetings, action, comical scenes and dialogues in the future. You need to stay calm and keep playing.
Hello.
I bet you can punch. Do me and the lady a favor here, would you? And thrash this impudent wretch.
Thrash! No man alive can thrash me.
What was your name, sir?
Arthur.
Arthur could. Easily.
You, maybe, but not me.
I know. Punch us both. As hard as you can. You'll break his glass jaw, and I'll be left standing. The knight and the knave.
Good idea. Hit me then. Dear boy, give the feeble fellow a little tap and watch him crumble. Ooh, look there! Oh.
When I realized that the game at the start didn't draw me in very much, and the characters were monotonously manipulating the protagonist author, I decided that I needed to explore the game world, dive into it, do not pass by side quests, but take on everything possible. At that moment I began to feel unity with the main character and even slightly began to empathize with him. He treats both himself and his gang with a certain degree of skepticism. He is not afraid to note that even if they get out of trouble, then they still don't have a chance to live happily ever after. A stray bullet or a knife in the side is sure to overtake everyone. The game teaches you to be vigilant. After the very first request for help from a sweet lady who remained alone in the forest due to the death of her horse, I received a bullet from her companions hiding nearby. The only good news is that there is a continuation in the game after this. In life, such a meeting would be the last. Now I accept any request for help in the game, keeping the gun loaded and ready for battle. You never know. Local beggars also cheat here. Some pretend to be blind, others paralyzed. A simple check, a pointed pistol often works and makes a paralyzed man run faster than a leopard, and a blind man suddenly sees and asks to put away the weapon. There is no division into black and white in this world. Here everyone has their reasons and their motivation. This makes the game very similar to life, where everyone believes that he is right and that his rightness is higher than the rightness of the rest, where everyone is trying to grab more by doing less.
Just wanna talk. Now, boy Calloway? Sure. Here's your message.
The honor scale is a good gameplay feature. It often made me wonder if I wanted to rob a passerby, start rowdy in a tavern, or steal horses. More likely I choose to take positive actions, because negative ones happen all too often. The game doesn't push us into the pit of violence on purpose, although it is very high quality and bright here, according to the canons of spaghetti westerns. Therefore, it is good when gunfights happen at the right moment in the plot, and not like in GTA, when we just go crazy and kill everything that moves. The slow motion moments of the murders are very nicely implemented, and again, they are shown from time to time and not with every headshot, which would break the dynamics of the action and spoil the overall immersion of the gameplay. I also liked the implementation of involving the player in the study of the world. After hunting wild animals for the first time, I became interested in traveling to the mountains in search of rare bighorn sheep and deer, or wading through thickets and swamps, risking being eaten by alligators. All these little things are very alive and real. They capture the player's attention well and teach him to select the appropriate weapon for hunting a certain type of animal. You can also study and collect herbs and berries from which you can craft medicines and make modifications for weapons. For example, lubricate arrows with an extract from a poisonous plant. All this turns into long and unforgettable hours of gameplay. The game always presents something, not letting the user get bored. Either a sudden stranger with a quest, an interesting conversation that can be overheard, or problems in the form of a gang of robbers or bounty hunters. Also pleased with the customization of the character and the real spirit of that time in all the little scenes. In clothing, architecture, the design of food packaging, alcohol, cigarettes and chewing tobacco. The game has a determinal effect, especially on the fragile mind of teenagers, since alcohol, cigarettes and other stimulants for the protagonist are presented as essential items to raise the level of dead eye or energy. Sometimes even I wanted to knock over a glass of a strong drink from a small beautiful bottle, because of the aesthetics. So we must not forget that there is no beneficial effect from cigarettes and alcohol, and cannot be. They are harmful to your health. Appropriately limited walking and running are well implemented in the game. The hero will not rush like crazy through large buildings or small dilapidated huts. That looks strange in most of the game, where there are not restrictions and the character runs from wall to wall with acceleration. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, out of habit, the imposing gait of the protagonist around the camp or in the building can be annoying. It is just worth treating as if the part of role-playing a character. We also walk in life, not run, so be patient and get used to the role. The facial expressions of the characters, both main and secondary, well reflect their true attitude to the situation. The protagonist will frown and even look away at the sight of a dead body. People around him will look in amazement or fight at the atrocities, or they will start shooting at the protagonist, sensing a threat. All this is fascinating and gives players the opportunity for extremely deep immersion in the setting, in the story, and in the inner world of the characters. Of course, there are strange moments and bugs in the game. I often observed how, after a shootout with lawmen, when everything calmed down, all the horses in teams disappeared from the nearest carriages and wagons. But the cabman continued as if nothing had happened, pulling the reins and sitting still. Several times I had strange things happen to my clothes when I mounted a horse, but these are all such small and insignificant mistakes in the context of such a complex and multifaceted project as Red Dead Redemption 2, where the developers have implemented so many interesting things that it is difficult to describe them in one video. What about the weather and its real impact on the character? Indeed, in Red Dead Redemption 2 you will not be able to comfortably flaunt the snow-capped mountains in one shirt. The player will freeze, lose health, and you will have to quickly get out to the nearest city to buy warmer clothes. The same applies to an outfit inappropriate for hot weather. The plot and gameplay are reminiscent of the narratives in the GTA series, which is not surprising. The standard mission looks like this. We talk with the character, we go to the point of interest, we watch a cutscene, there is an action, we go back and we get a reward. Of course, there are missions in several acts. A trip to a point of interest, action, another trip to a point of interest, another action, we go back and we get a reward. Side quests seem to be more interesting in Red Dead Redemption 2. They are lively, unusual, and often have a continuation. For example, a quest line in which you need to help the inventor of the electric chair in Saint-Denis. Firstly, we help a startup from 1899 to get a whole wagon load of moonshine. In the next quest, we need to negotiate with the local police about a license. After, find, catch and deliver the criminal for the experiment. And in the end, to come to the experiment itself. And these stories are everywhere. They don't look like boring fetch-give missions for the sake of time stretching. They reveal mini-plots that you believe in and in which it is interesting to be one of the main characters. In terms of control on a PC, I still find it difficult to get used to the assigned keys. At first, I constantly beat my horse because out of habit after GTA 5, I pressed F. Here, to saddle the stallion, you have to click on the E key. At the same time, my hero constantly beat and strangled passerby. Although I just wanted to talk, I habitually pressed the E key, which in most games is responsible for interacting with characters, but here I have to press the R key. After a while, of course, I got used to it, but at first it was very annoying. The characters in the game are interesting, although they manipulate the main hero too deliberately. Bring, give, help, move away, and don't interfere. And they don't seem to be going anything, just hanging around the camp, playing the banjo and dominoes, and drinking bourbon. Therefore, I do not envy Arthur, who like clockwork runs all over the district, either in search of money or in search of food, and his fellow loafers bring a couple of cents to the general treasury and have the audacity to push our protagonist around. The plot, of course, I will not reveal. I can only say that the story is excellently presented with an appropriate soundtrack and sound effects. The sounds of hitting opponents are a special threat for fans of Tarantino films and spaghetti westerns. This game will touch on many topics that are relevant to this day, and it will make you remember an important rule: you can't lead a bad life and hope for a happy outcome.